Jeb Bush. Did you know this history of Jeb Bush? Jeb Bush, back in 1995, this just blew my mind. He wrote a book, if he did it like his older brother, George, he hired a ghostwriter to write a book called Profiles in Character. Right? Jack Kennedy's book was Profiles in Courage, and it was about other people. Well, Jeb Bush's book is called Profiles in Character, and it's all about Jeb Bush. And he has a chapter called The Restoration of Shame. Now, you may be familiar with Daniel Hawthorne and the Scarlet Letter, you know, the letter that women of ill repute had to wear in 16th century Massachusetts. Here's what Jeb Bush wrote. One of the reasons more young women are giving birth out of wedlock and more young men are walking away from their paternal obligations is that there's no longer a stigma attached to this behavior. No reason to feel shame. Many of these young women and young men look around and see their friends engaged in the same irresponsible conduct. Their parents and neighbors have become ineffective at attaching some sense of ridicule to this behavior. There was a time when neighbors and communities would frown on out-of-wedlock births, and when public condemnation was enough of a stimulus to be careful. He pointed to Nathaniel Hawthorne's 1850 novel, The Scarlet Letter, in which the main character is forced to wear a large letter A for adulterer. Randy SF posted this over Democratic Underground. It originated over in the Huffington Post. But here's what's amazing. Jeb Bush became governor of Florida. He wrote this in 1995. He wasn't governor of Florida at the time. He became governor, and a bill came forward, a piece of legislation came forward that did exactly what Jeb Bush talked about. It required single mothers who wanted to give their child up for adoption, but did not know the identity of the father, to publish in the local newspaper their sexual history, the days and the dates and names of the people that they had sex with, or at least the dates that they had sex, so that presumably a father could read this and go, oh, I'm the father of that child, right? I mean, that was the Republican rationale for it. Really, it was public shaming. If a young woman has a child out of wedlock, she has to, in the local newspaper, publish her name and the times and dates and places where she had sex around the time of the conception of the child. This was the law in Florida for 2 years. Jeb Bush could have vetoed it, but hey, it was completely consistent with his 1995 book. He was calling for the public shaming of women who give birth to children out of wedlock. In 2003, it was taken before the Florida Supreme Court, which declared it unconstitutional, and that was the end of that. But that's Jeb Bush the moderate, right? Jeb Bush the moderate.